We are live. Good morning, everybody. It's me. I'm back. I know you're like, where's she been? Ah, so that's why Molly is here. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Molly.
Good morning.
So I want to introduce you guys to Molly today. Purvines, I'll let her introduce herself. But I met Molly last October during a 1 day retreat where I was introduced to the practice of tapping. Now, I had heard of the name tapping, had not ever been in practice of tapping. I've done other things and methods regarding how to relieve stress, how to redirect thoughts, but never tapping. In fact, I loved it so much. We had like a round robin of you hit different practitioners. I hit Molly twice. That's how much I liked it. That's how much I was like, can I go back to Molly? Because I was like, I need to do that again. And so she's been someone that's in my tool belt of places I go for an additional assistance. I've recommended people to her. I've sponsored people to meet Molly. That's how much I feel strongly about what she does. And I want to introduce you guys to Molly today as we go in session, some things I'm working with. And I've asked Molly to come on session with me online so that we can do it together. But I'll let first Molly introduce herself and what she feels is her practice.
Thank you so much, Kimblyn. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to get to meet with your people and get to talk about what it is I do. The tapping is outstanding, and it is probably one of my absolute most favorite modalities because of its extreme effectiveness and how it just really gets to the root cause of something. And I love that. So, I'm a life coach and a certified clinical EFT practitioner, also known as tapping, awakened being on a soul journey, and an avid traveler. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'm excited to connect with you this morning and help you clear some beliefs and help you get back to life and be more of who you are.
Yeah, I reached out to Molly because I said, you know what? I haven't been posting and I feel a lot of joy in my day to day. And if you know any of my story, I've shared before that I came through an extreme period of depression and sadness. And having gone through that for a number of years and being working and just dealing with children and life and never feeling like I would ever feel happy again. Once I came through that and was healed and was, learned new tools to help me manage that, I just don't like sitting in periods of long, elongated sadness. And so a lot of what's happening in the world is trying to kind of pull on that string, and I'm just fighting it with everything I have. And so it's really challenging me to broadcast all of the joy that I literally have to evoke every single day, because when I go online to post, it's like, bleh, all of this nasty and ugliness is out there. And I'm like, they don't want to see this. Like, what is she living in another reality of what's happening in the world? And how could she have such joy and clarity and creativity? And so I felt really disconnected from my audience because I don't want to bring them a belief that it can just all be joy despite. But I want to also be very transparent, and I'm just struggling with all that messaging in my head to create a path. And I know a lot of creatives in my circle are struggling with what they're seeing online and how to keep posting and how to encourage. And so it's kind of like I wanted this session for me of clearing some of those thoughts that aren't valid, really, to be honest, and help me get back to what I know people want from me, what I need to share with my audience, and just for people that are seeing all of the gunk out there and all of the reality of all the things that are happening that are very valid things, but how do we manage that in a day to day? And so that's what I'm struggling with. And this would have been a session I would have done with you privately, but I want to introduce my audience to this practice. And so I thought I'd just be transparent
Yeah.
and walk them through kind of what we would do in session to kind of help clear some of those thoughts from my head. Does that make sense?
Totally. I love that. And it is so valid and it is so on point with what's going on right now. It's people don't know how to show up. And so I could tell you all day long, like, oh, Kimblyn, here's how you should show up. But it doesn't matter if you're still believing in your head all the things you just said.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of our first thing is like advice is really well meaning, but unnecessary. Because as long as you're believing what you believe, the advice is irrelevant. And as soon as you stop believing what you believe, you no longer need the advice anyway. And so through tapping, we're going to tap on the meridian points of the body, move through the meridian points. This is our energy system in the body. When you tap on the meridian points, you calm the body. You send a rest and digest, everything is cool, everything is chill signal into the body. But then we're going to talk about the truth of how you're feeling. So when we talk about the truth of how we're feeling, we set off our fight or flight. We set off that stress response. We're like, oh, I can't post. I can't show up in my full joy. I can't do it. When you set off that thing and then you tap to calm it down, the brain and the body are getting these mixed signals. The body is saying, I'm okay. And the brain is like, no, we're not. Nuh-uh, no, 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 no. And when you put the two together, it cancels each other out. It takes the trigger and the stress out of the thought. And then you're able to see the thought with more objectivity. And then you're able to clear the thought because it's no longer having that emotional hold on you. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I want to put this banner up because I know people are joining. They're like, what are they talking about?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I was like, what are they talking about? So I'm just gonna put this up there quickly and so people can at least see it. And um so okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Ready. Okay. So, Kimlin, tell me what is the dominant emotion that you feel when you think about going online, you think about posting all your joy? What's the emotion that you feel in your body?
Conflict.
Conflict? Okay. Where do you feel it?
Um Probably more here and probably here. Definitely some heaviness in my chest.
Some heaviness in your chest.
Hmm.
Okay. So, we're going to start tapping on the side of the hand. This is also known as the karate chop point. This is our starting place. This is where we're going to start talking about the truth of how we're feeling. So, you're going to repeat after me as we go through the points. Even though I'm feeling this conflict
Even though I'm feeling this conflict
about posting online,
about posting online,
sharing my joy,
sharing my joy,
I send myself deep compassion.
I send myself deep compassion.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
Even though I have all this conflict
Even though I have all this conflict
about posting online,
about posting online,
I don't want people to think I'm out of touch with reality.
I don't want people to think I'm out of touch with reality.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I have all this conflict,
Even though I have all this conflict,
this heaviness in my chest,
this heaviness in my chest,
when I think about posting online,
when I think about posting online,
right here, right now, I'm okay.
right here, right now, I'm okay.
Okay, starting at the eyebrow point, in towards the eyebrow, towards the corner, the inside of the eye. There you go. This joy,
This joy,
this conflict,
this conflict,
the reality of the world.
the reality of the world.
How do I post online?
How do I post online?
How can I share my joy?
How can I share my joy?
It just feels wrong.
It just feels wrong.
People are going through a lot of things,
People are going through a lot of things,
and I need to acknowledge they're going through a lot of things.
and I need to acknowledge they're going through a lot of things.
I'm not allowed to be happy.
I'm not allowed to be happy.
I'm not allowed to show my joy.
I'm not allowed to share my joy.
It just wouldn't be right.
It just wouldn't be right.
I have all this conflict in my body,
I have all this conflict in my body,
this heaviness in my chest,
this heaviness in my chest,
all this conflict in my body.
all this conflict in my body.
I want to be transparent,
I want to be transparent,
but I don't know how to be transparent.
but I don't know how to be transparent.
I'm feeling the stress of the world.
I'm feeling the stress of the world.
I can't share my joy.
I can't share my joy.
It just wouldn't be right.
It just wouldn't be right.
What would people think?
What would people think?
This heaviness in my chest,
This heaviness in my chest,
this conflict in my body
this conflict in my body,
can't be open,
can't be open,
can't share my joy.
can't share my joy.
Okay. Stop tapping, take a deep breath. I want you to tune back into your body. Our body is our greatest truth teller. It is so much more wise than our mind. And I want you to tell me how that heaviness in your chest feels. Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Has it stayed the same?
It's better.
Better. Okay. Tell me what came up for you. Were there any thoughts that came up as we went through that session, that round?
Um, Probably the word ridiculous.
Okay. It's feeling a little ridiculous.
Feeling a little ridiculous.
Okay. All right.
Kind of like, and I know I love when that we do these sessions because when you say the words, you're really kind of like how when you say the words and you're released from the fact that it really doesn't make sense.
Mm.
Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it's as heavy or as severe of a roadblock as you would initially perceive.
Mm. Okay. All right. So let's go around and do around there. So
Okay.
anybody can join in if they're feeling this as well. Even though I'm feeling this conflict,
Even though I'm feeling this conflict,
it doesn't feel as much like a roadblock
it doesn't feel as much as a roadblock
as it did a few minutes ago.
as it did a few minutes ago.
And I continue to send myself deep compassion.
And I continue to send myself deep compassion.
Even though I have this fear of posting online
Even though I have this fear of posting online
and showing up in my joy,
and showing up in my joy,
it's starting to feel a little ridiculous.
it's starting to feel a little ridiculous.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
And right here, right now, I'm okay.
Even though I have this fear of posting online,
Even though I have this fear of posting online,
showing up as my full self,
showing up as my full self,
in my joy,
in my joy,
that's starting to sound a little ridiculous.
it's starting to sound a little ridiculous.
I don't know what I've been worried about
I don't know what I've been worried about
and what I've been believing,
and what I've been believing,
but I'm willing to release it now.
but I'm willing to release it now.
This lack of joy in the world,
This lack of joy in the world,
all this fear in the world,
all this fear in the world,
all this stress in the world,
all this stress in the world,
negative posts,
negative posts,
negative comments,
negative comments,
stressful posts,
stressful posts,
stressful comments.
stressful comments.
How can I show up in joy?
How can I show up in joy?
How will that serve?
How will that serve?
Why is it wrong?
Why is it wrong?
Why am I afraid to show up in my joy?
Why am I afraid to show up in my joy?
Why am I afraid to share my light?
Why am I afraid to share my light?
Why do I think I have to participate in the stress?
Why do I feel like I have to participate in stress?
All this stress online,
All the stress online,
all this stress everybody's feeling.
all the stress everybody is feeling.
It's so heavy.
It's so heavy.
I've been taking it on.
I've been taking it on.
I've been making it my own.
I've been making it my own.
Why am I afraid to share my light?
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 What do I think that says about me?
What do I think that says about me?
What do I think the world needs more of?
What do I think the world needs more of?
All this stress and anxiety,
All the stress and anxiety,
all this fear online.
all this fear online.
Okay. Stop tapping, take a deep breath. Let that settle into your body. I want you to check in with your body and just sort of scan through, a little quick scan head to toe, and look for any tension, any sensations, anything that's telling you there's still something hanging on there.
Mm-mm.
How do you feel about posting online?
I literally like, what's my first post?
Okay, now for your listeners, tell them how long you've been avoiding this.
Probably since the beginning of the year. Like, probably definitely when the war in Ukraine started,
Mm,
I
yeah,
just halted. I I I and then it's just been an avalanche of events since.
yeah.
And I've
What were
really
your Oh, sorry, go ahead.
and it literally has surfaced because that right now there is a war where people are fighting and dying, and there's always wars, right? And I don't necessarily inundate myself with the news daily, but that's kind of the headline right now or has been. So I do a check-in once or twice a day, but it feels like that just feels heaviest to me of like, and there's always a conflict somewhere, but
Mm,
in showing up in that, and it seems like the heaviness of the whatever the period of time is really affecting me. So I can say for sure it's been since April, March
yeah.
probably.
And so what I'm hearing is that you took that conflict and made it internal for yourself and took that on as like a personal responsibility to have conflict within you. Tell me
Mm,
where I'm wrong.
you're right.
How are you feeling about your relationship to that now versus a few months ago? Like, how does it feel to go online and be transparent, be authentically yourself, share your joy? What is that? What's that generating for you now? Is it generating stress?
I think it's acknowledging that it exists and how
Mm,
I'm working through it,
yeah,
how I can share how others can work through it. And
yeah.
not from a place of life is good, but from a place of life sucks. Hear how I am impacting, I can impact that over there. I can support and I can do other things, but I also, in this last week, as I knew that we were talking, really feel passionately about how do I impact those that are nearest to me within my circle of influence of maybe I cannot reach that conflict, but there are
Mm,
people in my circle that have conflict or people that within my proximity, and maybe that should be my focus. But just being transparent is
I
really
love
kind of
that.
surfaced in these last few days as we've been planning to share this today.
Mm, I love that. So, is there anything hanging on? Is there any belief that's still tapping at you that you'd like to clear? Anything that still feels like it needs addressing?
No, and I know I told you in our conversation that for me as part of my practice, normally if I think I'm going to need to tap, just the fact that I acknowledge that I have something to clear sometimes clears it.
Yeah. The acknowledgement is huge, and that's why, some people often ask me, why do we talk about the negative of tapping? Like, isn't that kinda like feeding the negativity? And it's not, it's the acknowledgement of it. It's the truth of how we feel. I feel scared, I feel sad, I'm angry about the war in Ukraine, I'm angry about the state of things. Like, that is true. And when we say it out loud, we take its power away a little bit more, but we
Yep.
really annihilate it when we add tapping to it because just saying it out loud isn't the whole formula.
Nope.
That's awesome.
Well, that was good. I hope
Yeah.
that when I do the replay, I will add some additional instructions. Definitely, we have comments. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Um,
Could we do a little happy round for your listeners? So, like, 'cause
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
feeling a little
yeah.
like, what do we replace this with? Okay, we may have gotten rid of a little bit of stress, like, what do we do now?
Okay.
So, can we do that? A little
Yeah,
quick round?
yeah.
Awesome. Alright, so we're tapping here.
All right. I'm putting my glasses. Okay.
Even though I was feeling all this stress,
Even though I was feeling all this stress,
I'm starting to feel my joy bubble up,
I'm starting to feel my joy bubble up.
and I can feel that smile across my face.
I can feel that smile across my face.
It hasn't been there in a while,
It hasn't been there in a while.
and I welcome it back.
And I was that,
Welcome it back.
and I welcome it back.
Even though I was feeling this stress about posting online,
Even though I was feeling the stress of posting online,
it now seems ridiculous.
it now seems ridiculous.
I am ready to share my light with the world.
I am ready to share my light with the world.
I am ready to share my joy,
I am ready to share my joy.
and I can feel it growing inside of me.
And I can feel it growing inside of me.
Even though I was worried about posting online,
Even though I was worried about posting online,
and just generally showing up in the world
and generally just showing up in the world
because it has felt like life sucks.
because it's felt like life sucks.
I'm ready to show up,
I'm ready to show up,
ready to share my joy,
ready to share my joy,
ready to be happy,
ready to be happy,
and I'm ready to serve others.
and I'm ready to serve others.
Feeling this joy in my body,
Feeling this joy in my body,
magnifying this joy in my body,
magnifying this joy in my body,
overabundance of joy in my body,
overabundance of joy in my body,
all this happiness in my body,
all this happiness in my body,
all this light trying to break out,
all this light trying to break out,
this light inside of me growing brighter and brighter.
this light inside of me growing brighter and brighter.
I am so ready to share it.
I am so ready to share it.
And I am showing up as my truest, most authentic self.
And I am showing up as my truest, most authentic self.
Hey. Yes, ma'am.
That was good.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, thank you. For those that are listening, I have Molly's information here for you to connect with her. And she is amazing, as you can see. And I find out what tapping is. I want to connect you with Molly if you would like to reach out and have questions. I will be posting the replay. The replays are coming on live as well, so you can just take this, break it apart, pause it, replay it, and do it with you. Do it alone. Do it with others. I'm happy to answer any questions about my own practice. So reach out to me if you have any questions. But Molly, anything you would like to share?
Just a huge thank you for having me and going through that process and being so open and vulnerable in this space. It's absolutely beautiful and I love it. Anybody that has questions for me, wants to connect, there's a way to book a free discovery call on my website. And that allows us to connect and talk and see what their issues are, see how I can serve them. So happy to do that with anybody who wants to know more.
Okay, I gotta get in the car.
Awesome.
The car.
I got to go enjoy more of the great outdoors.
Yes, that's beautiful. No, thank you so much. Thank you for honoring my request.
Mm,
When this surfaced for me, I was thinking, how ridiculous is this? But then it just wouldn't let me go. So I was like,
mm,
I have to do this. And even as we were doing it, for me, it's who is the one person. I'm looking at a comment from Sherelle Francis, and she's saying she wants to use this with her daughter.
mm.
So
Oh,
she's
this
gonna,
works great for children. I don't know how old her daughter is, but oh
yeah.
my gosh, kids are so open.
And so I would love to hear more about that. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to have you on again for LinkedIn. We're live with Storytime with Kimblyn. I haven't done it in so long, I forgot what it was called, but Storytime with Kimblyn to hear more of your story. So
Mm,
let's plan that. But today was amazing. I look for the one. That's it. The one person
mm.
that can be helped by my transparency and what I've been struggling with. But yeah, I can't post this morning because I got to get in the car. But oh, she says she's 9. Her daughter's 9.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Miss
tapping
Sherelle,
is so good for kids. They're not bogged down with all of our adult junk. Like they're so open. It's such a cool thing.
so reach out and can't wait to learn more. But for everyone else, I'm here, Molly's here. I hope you have an amazing day.
Mm,
Show up in your joy today. And if you learn anything from this from me is how do I, if I can't change the conflicts that I can't reach, how do I change the conflicts of those within my circle that I can touch? And that should be my focus. So thank you for that.
thank you. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.